Hello, my name is Andrew, and welcome to the 13th episode of Faith Among Wolves. Today we're going to be talking about loving when it's hard, right after this. Hello, and welcome to Faith Among Wolves. My name is Andrew Fick, and with me I have Jacob Moore.
Hello.
Kyla Young.
What's up, guys?
And our very own Nathan Rivas. Yes.
How you doing?
So, yeah, today we're going to be talking about, like I said, loving when it's hard. And so, Jacob, would you like to kick us off with our first point?
Yeah, so it is understanding what love is. And inside of that, we got 1 Corinthians 13, 4-8. It says, love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. Love does not demand its own way. Love is not irritable, and it keeps no record of when it has been wronged. It is never glad about injustice, but rejoiced whenever truth wins out. Love does not give up, never loses faith, is always hopeful, and endures through every circumstance. Love will last forever, but prophecy and speaking in unknown languages and special knowledge will all disappear.
Oh, man, I love this verse, or passage. This is probably one of my favorite passages in the whole Bible. Because it's just the whole chapter of 1 Corinthians 13, it just has a lot to think about. And so, yeah.
Okay, are you on passage gang or verse gang? Personally, I'm on verse. I call them verses. Sounds like Andrew is on the passage gang.
Well, verse is singular, so I guess I could say verses, but
Boo. Verses for everything.
I didn't know this is a gangs thing.
Yeah, no.
But anyway, so it's just like love is not irritable and keeps no record of when it has been wronged. I mean, how many of us will remember something that someone has done against us and keep a grudge? Or love is not jealous, love is not boastful, love is not proud, love is not rude, love does not demand its own ways. I mean, there's just so much here, and it can be very convicting. So, yeah. Kyla, would you like to read the next verse?
The next verse is John 13:34-35. So now I am giving you a new commandment: love each other, just as I have loved you. You should love each other. Your love for one another will prove to the world that you are my disciples.
So, yeah, this verse has a lot to think about, too. So it says, our love for another, so we have a command to love each other. Just as God has loved us, we should love each other. And then our love for each other will prove to the world that we are his disciples. And so if we don't show love, in fact, it says this in 1 Corinthians 13, that if you don't have love, it says, if I speak of tongues of men and angels but have not love, I'm just a clanging gong or a clashing cymbal. And so if you can speak with knowledge of the Bible, you can you can have the whole Bible memorized. You can give millions of dollars to the poor. But if you don't have love when you do that, you're just an annoying, obnoxious racket that will drive everybody crazy and is no good. And it is through that love that we will have for one another that people will be able to tell that we are his disciples. And so even if you have the entire Bible memorized and give all your money away to the poor, if you don't have love, you cannot be one of Jesus' disciples. And so, yeah.
And just heads up, we should have said this at the beginning, but this is our Valentine's special.
Even though Valentine's Day will be long gone by the time you hear this.
Yeah. But for us, it was only a couple days ago, so we're still late. Anyway. But, yeah. So, loving when it's hard. That's our Valentine's special, so hope you enjoy it. Anyways, back to the episode.
All right, so as we read a little bit before, 1 Corinthians 13:4, love is patient, kind, love is not jealous, and it keeps going about stuff. But to understand a little bit what love is, let's understand a little bit about what the Bible says love is, patient and kind. So patience, Proverbs 15:18 says, hot tempers cause arguments, but patience bring peace. As this verse says, when we have patience, we do not want to have arguments. We don't seek the arguments, but we want to seek to end them. And I think we should be patient with who we love and comfort them if they're going through something that maybe is making them angry, to argue with them. So argue with you. So yeah, be patient with them and bring comfort to them and seek to end that. I have a question for you guys. Has anyone shown patience in your life? Like something that the verse is saying.
I think everyone in this world can agree with this. Parents.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, you might not even realize it, but, like, sometimes, again, even if you don't realize it, you could be, like, very annoying. And the fact that they have the patience to even deal with you is, like, more than any of us deserve. So, yeah. Be grateful to all those parents out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Parents are a blessing to us. Kyla, you have anything?
I was patient with my best friend when she was annoying me a couple weeks ago.
But has anyone shown patience to you that you could remember something, or like someone that was like very patient with you and they should not have been?
Nathan. Yeah, he was patient with me when I annoy him.
Oh, that's a first. All right. Moving on to kindness. Proverbs 16:24 says,
Oh, wait. You don't want me to go on a rant about patience?
Sure, go on a rant.
Yeah, so patience is actually one of the fruits of the Spirit. And so what the fruits of the Spirit are, I think we talked about this a lot of episodes ago. Man, that was the How to Find Godly Friends episode, right? That was 10 episodes ago. That's crazy. Anyway,
We've had 10 episodes. Is insane.
yeah. But anyway, so we talked about the fruit of the Spirit a little bit back then. But so if you have the Spirit in your life, you will produce the fruits of the Spirit. And that's not to say that you'll be perfect and have all the fruits of the Spirit the second you become a Christian. But you should generally have a trend of increasing those fruits of the Spirit in your life. And so patience being one of those, if you are in a healthy relationship with God and are growing in Him, then you will have more patience as you grow closer to God. And so, yeah, patience is a fruit that especially can be hard when people are annoying, but
I'll say it. Okay. This verse is in Galatians 5:22-23. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbiddenness, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such thing there is no law. And I use the NIV.
What was that second? Forbiddenness?
forbearance, I think. Is that what it says? Forbearance?
I've for some reason
Here,
never
can I
heard
see
that?
that?
This is insane.
This
Okay.
is NIV.
What
Yeah,
is
forbearance is kind of it means patience.
Oh,
It's
patience.
just a fancy
Alright.
word for patience.
Interesting.
And so it can be hard to have patience when people drive you crazy
If
and
that was NIV, I thought NIV was supposed to be easy. I've never heard forbearance.
No, I use the NLT. NLT is better, but
Nice.
don't get me on a rant about Bible translations.
ESV
KJV. No, okay.
and KJV.
But what was I saying?
Something.
Going on a rant about patience.
I was going on a rant about patience. Oh yeah, it can be hard to be patient when people are driving you crazy, and I'm sure my brothers can tell you that sometimes I lack patience. but patience is important, and sometimes you just gotta be patient with people, and when they're driving you absolutely crazy. So
Okay, so I got a question for you guys. Not like you guys, but like you guys listening. So we talked about this just a second ago about how you'll see in your own life your patience will grow as you dive in deeper and give yourself more to God. So have you seen your patience grow in the last week, month, year? So it's just a reflective question.
and one that we probably should think about too.
And Jacob, how do you think we could grow our patience if we haven't seen it grow? What do you think?
Well, put more time into prayer and probably reading the Bible, something I should also do more. And also kind of just like if you're starting into a heated argument, an easy thing to do is just take a deep breath. What is the point of this argument? Is it beneficial in any way? And will it help me with the road to Jesus? And if all those questions are no, then it's probably worth just stepping away. And that could also be a big part of patience, is just stepping away.
Yeah. And what Jacob was saying about spending time in prayer and stuff, something to think about is your relationship with God is like your relationship with your friends. Kind of. Because if you spend time around certain friends, you may start to notice that you start becoming like them. And we talked about this in episode 3, 10 episodes ago, how the kinds of people you hang around with are who you'll become like. And so even just without it being, even if it's not problematic, like if a friend of yours says a certain thing or something, you might notice yourself saying that. And so, but your relationship with God is the same way. So the more time you spend with God, the more of Him will rub off on you. And so if you spend more time in prayer with God, then you'll slowly start to become more like Him as you spend more time with Him and grow your relationship with Him. So, yeah.
All right, so another thing that the verse said is talking about kindness. Proverbs 16:24 says, "Kind words are like honey, sweet to the soul and healthy for the body." I think this also ties in a little bit with patience, to have kind words even when you want to just blow the place up. To think about what you could say. I think, isn't there like a what?
Well,
I know, but
love is
pa-
patient, or love is kind too.
so wasn't there like there's a thing about like think, if what you're gonna say is, I don't know, but there's just something.
It's think before you speak. And if it's not kind, don't say it at all.
That's not in the Bible, by the way.
That is not, but that is a handy saying.
That's in the mom's Bible.
Yeah. Which when I was growing up, I was just like, sure. But now as I grow up, I'm thinking like that's actually a very useful tool. And honestly, think before you speak. That's something we all need to do. So
Yeah, and I think the Bible also says, "A harsh word stirs up anger," but how does that verse end?
All right, so I found it. So the thing is, it's an acronym for think, and this is the thing. You gotta think if your word is T, true, H, helpful, I, inspiring, N, necessary, and K, kind. So this is something I want to throw up. But yeah, just think if your word is think.
Yeah.
About those things I said. But yeah, that's one thing I want to say. And also, it says also in the verse, if you are kind, it will be good for your body. It will be sweet and healthy.
Yeah, and in Proverbs 15:1, it also says, "A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger." And so, yeah.
Yeah. So those are some things that just show you how love is, and just helps you understand love. Anyone want to add something to that?
Yeah, I don't think so.
So we're talking about all this patience, kindness, and all, but what does that have to do with love? Because that's what we're talking about, loving when it's hard. But when you're being patient and when you're being kind, you are being loving, because being patient is a side effect of being loving. It's one of the fruits of the Spirit, and I believe love is the highest of all of them. Like, love pretty much incorporates almost all the fruits of the Spirit. So when you are being loving, you're also being patient and kind. You cannot have them separated. So when you are being patient and you're kind, you're being loving, even when it's hard. So
Yeah. And that brings us to our next segment, segment 2, which is loving even when it's hard. This can apply for siblings, I'm sure. I know all 4 of us have siblings, and we all know that it can be kind of hard to love our siblings sometimes. And sometimes we have enemies in our lives. And so, yeah, we're just going to talk
what society calls ops. I don't know. Have you guys heard that?
No.
Yes, all the time. For my siblings.
You're my op.
I hear it from my
Especially
brother
girls,
and
they're
my
like-
sister. I hear it from my brother and my sister.
But
Yeah.
and loving when it's hard doesn't necessarily mean it's people that you hate. This can also be like your parents. Sometimes they just like punish you for something that you might think is like unjustly, or you had all the right, and it was like you did nothing wrong, but it's hard. Maybe it's hard to love them when they are punishing you. So yeah, it's just something I want to say.
Yeah. Kyla, would you like to read the first verse?
Matthew 5:43 to 48. You have heard that the law of Moses says, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say, love your enemies, pray for those who persecute you. In that way you will be acting as true children of your Father in heaven, for he gives his sunlight to both the evil and the good, and he sends the rains the just and on the unjust too. If you love only those who love you, what good is that? Even corrupt tax collectors do that much. If you are kind to only your friends, how are you different from anyone else? Even pagans do that. But you are to be perfect, just as even as your Father in heaven is perfect.
Yeah, I like this. This is really good. Something that I pull out from this is that treat everyone like the what's it called, the golden rule. Treat everyone the same. That's not the golden rule, but treat everyone the same and
Do unto others as you would have others do unto you.
yeah, it's the golden rule. But just treat everyone the same. Some people it'll be hard to, but just treat everyone the same. You're not gonna think the same thing about everyone. That's just how we are. But just try your best to be the same, because he says he sends rain to the just and the unjust. I like that part. He'll bless the just and the unjust because he's a merciful and loving God. So
Well, I don't know if I'd say we should treat everybody the same. Like, we should show them the same love, but we need to treat people differently as well. So, just want to make that distinction.
yeah, Andrew. Actually, yeah, you're right. I was just saying, like, let's say
Show everybody the same love. Is that kind of like what you were going for?
yeah. So I was saying, like, if I look at you and then I look at, I look at someone else that I don't know, I'm gonna be like, to you, I'm gonna be way nicer, or I'm gonna be like way like affectionate. I'm gonna talk a lot, which is not wrong because I know you more and I can trust you with some stuff. But like to the other person, show as much kindness and love that I was gonna show you than to the other person. Like, I'm not gonna be like, all right, I don't know, give you a Snicker. That's dumb. But like, just give you a Snicker, and I'm gonna talk to you, and I'm gonna ask you how your day been. Not to this person who wants or needs as much, if not more, than you, and I'm not gonna do anything about it. I know, I get it. I guess I know it's hard, but just I don't know. Just try to look at other people and not overlook them.
Yeah. Yeah. I had something I wanted to say. Let's see. What verse is this? Oh, yeah. We've talked about before, I think, about how we're, as Christians, called to be different from the world. And so I think one thing that we can take away from this passage here is how it says we need to, if you are kind only to your friends, how are you different from anyone else? Even the pagans do that. And so it's not enough that we say we're Christians and we show love to the people within our own circles. In order to differentiate ourselves from the world as a whole, we need to show exceptional love for the people outside of our church circle who aren't Christians and aren't saved. And even the people that detest us and who we might dislike also. And so even though it might be hard to show love to those people, we need to, in order to show that Jesus can love everybody no matter what they've done to him. I mean, Jesus still loved the people who beat him up and nailed him to the cross and asked God to forgive them. And so in the same way, we need to show love for the people who persecute us and treat us badly, and so we can show the love of Jesus to them. And so yeah.
Just one thing that I don't know, I've been thinking. If someone, I don't know, you're saying God loved even the people who beat them up. That is amazing love. I don't think we could do that even if we tried to. But if someone just like bullies you in a lot, still love them, but that doesn't mean you gotta like keep taking it. Like, if don't be like, all right, just punch me more, and just like don't. I don't know where I was gonna go through, but just like I was just gonna say, you still have to stand up for yourself and like.
Well, that's interesting because There's also where it says in the Bible about turning the other cheek too.
So do you have to be like kind of like a pacifist, like passive aggressive, like your socks stink? No, don't do that. That's probably bad. But do you like passively stand up? Do you like turn the other cheek, but like stand your ground? Like how?
Oh yeah. I just found that passage. It's in Matthew 5:38 through 40, and it says, "You have heard that it was said, eye for eye and tooth for tooth. But I tell you, do not resist an evil person. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also. And if anyone wants to sue you and take your shirt, hand them your coat as well."
So, what would you do about like a bully or something like that? Do you like turn the other cheek, or like it says to turn the other cheek, but is that the whole picture? Just turn the other cheek, or do you do something else too?
Maybe we should do an episode about that.
Yeah, turning the other cheek. Yeah. Obviously, if someone punches you, unless he's like very much stronger than you or she, I don't know. We're not gonna let them punch you, of course, unless you're a pacifist. But I would say, even though I don't have much knowledge about this, we can read a whole lot about this and do an episode. Is that I would just say if they hurt you, think about what you're going to say, because we're definitely going to say something. Or we might not say something, but we're most probably going to say something, and think about what you're going to say. Is what you're going to say hurt more than what he just physically did to you? And after that, after you go through, repent if you've done anything wrong, if you did anything wrong after he or she did something to you, and pray for him or her. I think that would help a lot in your case. And, of course, I would recommend you tell an authority or something, because they'll probably handle it and won't do it again to you, the bully. If they do, then just pray, and God will show you what to do.
So you didn't entirely say what to do at the heat of the moment. Like, do you just turn the other cheek and stay silent? Like, how do you reply? Like, in that direct moment, in that direct heat, what should you do besides turn the other cheek?
Me personally, I'd punch him back. But, like, that's not what you should do, all right?
That's the flesh at work.
That is, especially me. You guys know me. I would punch him back. Beat him up. But the point is, if I were you, I'd probably, I don't know, like Joseph did, run away. If something's taunting you to do something wrong, Joseph was taunted to do something wrong. Like my flesh would to punch him. His flesh probably had urge to do something. And he ran away. He fled from that temptation. And I would do the same thing. I would think about it, and I was just like, I mean, if you physically run away, then like they'll probably just grab you. But like, just try to divert from the thing. And if they punch you, then just say, I don't know. You said in the heat of the moment, like if I go and just punch in the face, Jacob would not do anything because he can't do anything against me.
Hey, false! False. You heard that. I can beat him up, but with my love, no. Not at all.
Says the one who threw my glasses across the room today because I scared you. But the thing is, I would just try to get away from the situation. Like, get away. That's what I think. And if he shouts something behind your back while you're walking away, like coward, or I don't know what, just ignore what they said and do what I said earlier. But yeah, that's something good. The greatest commandment. It is like we just said it, or the verse says, the first and greatest commandment.
I don't think we read that one yet.
We didn't?
Nope.
Oh. So I thought we had. Oh, my fault.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. I thought we already read it. But tying to loving you when it's hard, the greatest commandment does a lot about this. Matthew 22:37-40 says, Jesus replied, "You must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. A second, is that how it is? A second is equally important." I think it should say the second.
No, it's a second.
It's a second?
Yep.
All right. A second is equally important. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the other commandments and all the demands of the prophets are based on these two commandments. I think that says itself on the verse what we would say. But
yeah.
You guys have to say anything?
All right. Let's say I'm gonna go back to the bully scenario. there's bully, but let's say instead of being in the heat of the moment, being the one attacked, let's say you're a bystander. Okay, you're watching the fight happening. What should you do? So now, throwing yourself in the middle of the fight would not be a good idea. Like, a good thing to do instead would probably be to, I don't know what you do during the fight, but I think after the fight you could take the Good Samaritan into. Think about the Good Samaritan. The guy was beat up on the side of the road, and multiple people passed and cared nothing for him. I think a good thing we'll do is try to care for the classmate that was harmed or beat up in that scenario. And after that fight, the victim might not be the most kindest, but just pray and try your best.
Yeah. And that's another part of showing Jesus' love to people who might be outcasts. Because in his life, Jesus showed his love like to people like tax collectors and lepers and people like that who were deeply shunned by society. And so just like that, we should go talk to the people who our society might be rejecting and who it might not be the most acceptable thing to go talk to those people. And so if there's someone who's being rejected or something and you go up and show the love of Jesus to them, that can be very powerful and showing them how much God loves them. So
Yeah, I'm gonna say something about what you said, and then I'm gonna say a final thing about the bully thing, because I don't want to spend the whole thing, or like Jacob says, we can do another episode about bullies. But the thing is, about what you said about being loving to people who get rejected in society, I was thinking sometimes we are the ones that are rejected by society, and this is when we need our friends to comfort us. And if you say, "Oh, I don't have any friends,"
episode 3.
yeah, godly friends. I would say Jesus is your best friend. Ultimately, he's your best friend. You can spend time with him, and you know he's gonna give you peace, even though you're not guaranteed, and you're not. It's a very low percent chance he's gonna talk to you with an audible voice, even though it's possible. You just feel that peace inside you. I'm still learning about how God talks to you, but yeah. I was just gonna say, sometimes we are the ones who are left out by society, and yeah, you should not feel alone when that happens. And about what you said, if you're the bystander, I'm just gonna say something. If I was the bystander and a guy was punching everything out of the guy, or just pushing him around, or saying something about him, I would stand up. I would definitely not stay in the sides and pray for it. I would literally, if they're punching him, I would literally get in the middle and say, "Hey man, back off. This is not okay." And I don't know.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a bigger guy and they're smaller than you and the guy is going to stop, I would definitely get in the middle and literally say, "Bro, if you keep going, this is not going to go well for you." Because it won't. But wait. Just let me finish. And after that, of course, care for like you said, for the victim. And it might not be the best time for him, but just pray for him and for the bully. And then I would stand up and try not to punch the guy, because that would just make you the bully probably. So just do it peacefully, but do not let the scenario happen.
Yeah, Matthew 5:9 says, "God blesses those who work for peace, for they will be called the children of God."
Okay, anyways, but then. So I said something different than what you said, exactly in different saying. So actually, I think what you said, Nathan, is actually better. And yeah. So good job, Nathan. My mistake.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
Okay, our final point is my favorite, is loving God even if you think he isn't there in your toughest battle. And this, for the first verse, is actually my favorite passage, Psalms 23:4. "Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me."
Yeah, and so we're just kind of thinking a little bit right now about how sometimes it's hard to love others who don't love us back. But sometimes we forget that God loves us, and yet he still loves us back, even when we don't love him back. And so just sometimes we walk through seasons of darkness in our lives where we forget that God is there for us and we forget his love. But just like that verse Kyla just read, even when we walk through valleys where we don't see God moving, he's still there and he's still there with us. So,
There's something I love to say. I sometimes use it too much, but I don't know if you guys have heard me say this. But when you're in a class and someone gives you a test, or, for example, God giving you a hard time in your life, maybe it's a test. The teacher does not speak during the test. So
unless it's my brother's teacher.
they are homeschooled, by the way.
No.
Well, you go to the green room.
Yeah, we go to kind of school.
But even though they are also homeschooled. So, I think, so that's a good thing to know. If you are in a battle, if you're in a dark place of your life, or a test, or something that God has put towards you, God or the teacher typically do not speak to you. They want to see what you do with it, and they want to see the end results. And, you're going to do better with what happens at the end. So, God is probably putting something in front of you, and, he's not going to speak because there's something you need to find out about yourself and your own life. So that's just something I want to say.
Yeah, that's really good. And move on to the next verse. Isaiah 41:10. Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous hand.
Righteous right hand.
Righteous right hand.
Sorry, lefties.
Sorry, lefties. Yeah. Yeah. Andrew, next verse.
Oh, yeah. Joshua 1:9. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go.
Yeah, so whenever you find yourself in a tough time, just know God is there with you, and I hope we gave you a couple pointers on what to do during a fight. I hope there's primarily teens listening to this, because this is a Christian teen podcast for teens by teens. So, mainly what advice we give to is for teens, and bullying is usually a main thing, a part of teens and public school. So we hope we gave you a little bit of pointers. What, Nathan?
Private. Don't and homeschool in your home. Okay.
I go to a co-op thing. It's like 2 days a week of kind of normal school. Kind of.
Kind
It's
of.
really weird and hard to explain. So.
All right, but yeah, hope you give a little pointers and
Yeah,
on
and
what to do in love.
just to close off the last point we were doing. So God still loves you, even when you have walked away from him. Nothing can separate you from how much he loves you. And even when you don't love him, he still loves you back. So just as God continues to love us when we don't love him back, we should show love for other people when they don't love us back, because we should be a reflection of what God is to us. So, yeah. Okay, and now Kyla's going to read the challenge of the week.
The challenge of the week is try to put an end to disputes and be patient to those who start it. So basically, guys, if you guys have like an argument, or so what these boys were saying about fights, like end it, and like try to be helpful and to the what did I say? Try to be helpful and like not
reach an agreement.
Yeah, and not start fights or arguments, and just be patient with the ones who started it. Like, they may be going through a hard time. That's why they're trying to start something,
Yeah. Anyone else have any thoughts before we close?
No, I think it's all good. All right, well, I'm gonna give the spiel.
The spiel.
So if you enjoyed this episode of Faith Among Wolves, consider contacting us. If you might have noticed, we did not have the factor cap this episode. Well, that is because 2 out of 3 people on the poll, I know very few numbers, but we gotta work what we gotta work with. 2 out of 3 people, so
that would be 66. No, 66.6666666667% of the people
said to cancel factor cap, which we are very sad, and only 1 person said to keep it. But if we get 2 emails at faithamongwolves.com
yahoo.com.
At yahoo.com, not .com. So faithamongwolves at yahoo.com. If we get 2 emails saying you want it back, we will bring it back.
Okay.
We will.
Then doesn't that defeat the whole point of the poll, though?
We will bring it back. And also, or you could text to
571-492-4585.
Awesome.
It'll be in the description.
So yeah, I think
And shout out to all of you guys who filled out that poll while it was going. So
the whole 3 people. Thank
4.
you.
We had 4 people.
4 people. Thank you.
Someone had no comment about factor cap. That's sad. I'm the one who normally does factor cap, so it's hurting me the most.
Oh, brother.
But if I respect it. But if you have any way that you think I could do it better, or any way that you think it'd be funnier, I don't know. Just tell me, because I want to do it better, and I do not want factor cap to leave, or I want some kind of funny segment in the middle. But thanks for giving your commendations.
Yeah.
I just want to make it
And
better.
if any of you out there, I know the poll's done, but if any of you out there have any sort of feedback on how we can make the show better, please send it on in to faithamongwolves@yahoo.com or text it to 571-492-4585. We would really appreciate it. And, be honest with us. Tell it, because we appreciate honesty, even if it hurts. So,
Yeah, and tune in for our testimonies coming up sometime in the next few episodes, and also here soon, not next episode, but in one of the soon future episodes, we are going to be talking about the end times
yeah.
and our perspective and our role in that. So tune in and keep a watch out.
Jacob said it's scary, so I probably might not be here for it.
Yeah. Girls.
Oh, brother.
Nathan.
Okay, anyway, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Faith Among Wolves, and until next time, goodbye.
Bye, guys.
There's just so much here, and it can be very convicting, so, yeah.
I am so bored.